Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. So we're going to do a breakdown today of the Blender comp. I'm going to try and break it from, really early game versions that you might be able to run into plat standard versions. I haven't done all the theory crafting of this, but I guess because we're now going to change it into different setups, we're going to come away from calling it the Blender. We've moved to the food processor in my stream just for some lulz. What we got here then, I want to show you how you can kind of do this from an earlier game perspective, what champions could fit in. I've tested a few. We're going to test a few live here on this video. And then maybe even show you some legendaries that probably man your vault if you've got a fair few that might be able to come in and do this job as well. So we're going to start off then with the kind of standard setup that you need. You kind of need to go first for this comp to work. So you need to have a fast speed lead. You need a speed booster. You then need an ally attack champion, not ally protect, ally attack champion. And then you need two champions that do AoE damage. The two which I've shown in previous videos pretty much come from when I was building a team for someone on my Twitch, and he was like, "Can you build me a Blender comp?" We've seen it mostly on RTZ's channel, which is fair. But basically it's running Skull Crown into Sylar because they actually just pair up so well. Skull Crown does double damage to anyone with high health, and Sylar does double damage to people with low health. So when you've got people like Rotus against you and you need to hit them multiple times, these two come up really well. What we're looking at here though is, can other people fit into the comp if you don't have those two specific champs? And I think they can. And who else can kind of come in as your speed leads and that type of stuff. So we're going to start off with what I'd class as a real budget version of this setup. So I've got myself a high to tune, free to play friendly, quite fast, 267. And she's got both a speed aura and a speed booster. So she kind of does everything to help you go first, yeah? You want to put your best speed items on her if you're running this at like silver level. So what I've done here is I've just thrown on speed boots, a speed roll here. You might think, oh my god, he's put crazy gear on her. I don't feel like I have. We've got like single roll, single roll, single roll, double roll, single roll, speed boots. Yeah, so hopefully a lot of people can achieve that if they're in high silvers, golds, whatever, can get to that type of speed. I don't care what this is. Defense, if that was crit damage, if that was attack percentage, if that was flat stat HP, if it had my two speed rolls on it, she would be wearing it as my speed booster, yeah? She needs to be the fastest person in your team. Forget the normal stuff you try and build. You just want her to be fast. When you get further into endgame, then you might try and be a bit more selective over the stats. But for your speed booster, if you're early game, she needs to be the fastest champ you can build. So she's the speed. We then go into ally attack. Now, a lot of people should have been able to pick up a Catacomb Counselor. So you basically want to have a speed which won't be cut in on this champ's speed. So we've got 267 here. I said in my last video that you should divide the speed by the boost that they're going to get. So this champion is going to give us a 15% turn meter boost, which means you'd need to divide her total speed by 0.85. I've been told actually that's not quite enough. You should maybe push it up to about 0.9. So if we divided her 267 by 0.9, and for an Arbiter I've been told 0.8 rather than divide it by 1.2 instead of 1.3. Again, I've been learning the game by people that are stronger than me in this game. Fine, don't mind that. I'm always learning, guys. So let's just see, 267. I've got my calculator out in front of me. Divide that by 0.9. So to make sure that, divide it by 1.1, sorry. 267 divided by 1.1, because we want to get to a 90% of our speed. So my Catacomb Counselor should be at 242 to make sure he doesn't get cut in on. We're about 10 speed short of that here. I could probably build that 10 speed somewhere. Probably here. So maybe we try and do it while I'm live on the video. Just get myself to 242 is what I'm after. And then that way I shouldn't be cut in on unless there's some sort of crazy mechanics that are coming in. So gain 6 there, gain 17 there, there we go. Put that on, So now he will not get cut in on. So he will definitely go second if I go first. Okay. And then after the ally attack, you have 2 people doing AoE damage. So we're going to try a few out today. I'll show you Skull Crown and Senacia. They're both high damage builds. I'll also show you Sylar in I'd say a medium build, more like a mid-game build. I will show you Lua. It's quite hard to get enough gear pieces for all these type of different demos. I'll show you a Lua. I'll show you a Sylar. I will show you, who else have I got for AoE A1s? I did build another couple. I think I've got Fellhound built, ready to go. Pretty low damage Fellhound, but we can try Fellhound. And we have also got a Soul Bond, again, in pretty low damage. So what this is a showcase of, can other people do it? I don't even know all the answers before I'm recording here. We're just going to try stuff out. I've also built up a couple more legendaries. So I've got Ray in just a kind of mishmash of gear. She's not fully geared, but I want to try her out in a kind of mid sort of style build. We've also got a Kymar built with a kind of relatively low damage. We've got a Badel built for low damage. We've got Skartorsis built for high damage. It's more like an end game build. Skartorsis has got really good multipliers on his A1, so we want to try this out. See if he can feature. We've got a Baron built because we know Baron has got a crazy A1 that can do AoE damage. So yeah, let's just get into it. We're 6 minutes into the video. I'm yabbering on. One thing I will show you though, because I've been asked a ton in my streams, what sort of mastery should you run on this build? I prefer Helm Smasher. You might go Flawless Execution for more stable damage. I prefer Helm Smasher to get those bulky big hits come out. If you're going with this sort of comp, you probably want to try and get Heart of Glory. That gives you more damage when you're full HP. But for my first hitting champ, I take Shield Breaker in case we're up against someone with a shield set. But if you're not likely to be up against shield sets, Heart of Glory is better. You definitely want to take Ruthless Ambush because you get another 8% damage. Helm Smasher, as I said, that's kind of the main ones really to pick out. So if you see from my Senacia, I've done slightly different because I know that she doesn't have to break shields. She's going to go second. So we go slightly different build here. Okay, let's get into this. Let's get into the arena. Now that we've had reset, and I can show you some of the kind of budget builds first. As I say, I've not tried all of these out yet. It's going to be kind of work in progress, but I just wanted to try and give people alternatives to the real end game setup. And what's important here is you put people in the right place. So similar to with a counter attacker, people go in a certain order when they counter attack. Same thing happens with placement of ally attack. So a Cataclysm Counselor is going to be our ally attack champ. Yeah. And what you want is you want your first person to hit to go here and your last person to hit to go here. That's really important if you're doing the Skull Crown Senacia build, because Skull Crown does more damage to people with high health, Senacia more damage with low health. Yeah, Skull Crown does a double hit high health, Senacia double hit low health. But if we're talking about other champs and perhaps you've only got one of these, if we wanted to go Sylar, we would go Sylar first into Senacia, so that Senacia always gets that last hit. Or if we didn't have a Senacia and we were going to use Skull Crown, we would go Skull Crown. Make sure I'm picking the right one up here. One of them's not built, that one. Skull Crown into Sylar, so we do it that way around. Let's just try this as a run. It'll be interesting to see what sort of damage Sylar actually does in this. So this should run full auto. You can select an opponent if there's someone you want to take down specifically. But if you see this running full auto here, we go ally attack, automatically targets the enemy leader, and we see there we got a double hit from the Skull Crown and a single hit from the Sylar. A good amount of damage, not crazy damage, but then the Sylar's not built with crazy gear, so you can kind of just see that working. Skull Crown did 100k, Sylar came in and did a reasonable level of damage, so she could do this role. Let's see it the other way around. If Sylar was the first hitter here and Senacia was mopping up, I'm not so sure if Sylar in the build I've got, and it's not a crazy build, this is mid-tier build I would say, at best. Mid-tier build. Crit rate's really important here. You do want to make sure you land your crits, otherwise you're going to lose. So we go speed into that ally attack. Sylar hits first AoE, and then Sedacia comes and mops up. So again, it's not enough to completely kill the team, but by the time you've killed 2 or 3, it should be enough to see you through the fight. Let's try subbing out the Sylar then and trying some other champs. So we also built up, I'll try a couple of these. I guess by standard they would be weaker champions, but people like Fellhound that people might have built up for Fire Knights and places like that. Can Fellhound come in and do a job here for us? Again, he's not built for like endgame build. I'll show you that build again in a second. Let's just see what he can do. So he's going to crunch in first, did 4k, probably not enough damage just to finish him off. I could build him with more damage though, and that's the point. I don't have him built to do crazy damage here. I'm trying to just get people out of my vault that already had some gear on, to give everyone a kind of chance really at, you know, what's a reasonable build. And we're at gold 4, so we're not sort of slouching in the arena. We're at gold 4 level here. But for me, at reset, obviously reset's an easier time for me to come and farm medals and stuff. So I expect to win with a decent kind of setup here. But yeah, Fellhound in this build is not doing enough damage here to enable Sedacia to do her damage. If we were to look at perhaps a Bellower. Bellower can do this role really well. Let's see what Bellowers we've got. Let's take him out. I'll see how my Bellowers are built quick. This one here, we want it to be 100% crits. We've got AT 172, that's not that great. Just see what the one in the vault's got. Pretty sure one of them's at 100. It's a bit better. Still not 100% crit. Let's throw him in. So let's try it this way around. Again with Sedacia mopping up. Here we go again. So we are fast enough. Yeah, so that works nice. Obviously they're going to pick him up, but then we come back in straight away. Because he's picked him up, they're not going to have much in the way of turn meter. So you should just go again, even though your champs are slow. So you can see that working through there. Let's go here then. And let's start to work up then what sort of legendaries or other harder hitting champs can really come into this setup. So we've looked at Sylar. I think there was another epic that I wanted to show. Was there? Maybe not. I thought there was one more. No, maybe not. So let's show off then a couple of these legendaries that we've been working on. So Skartorsis first. Skartorsis actually hits pretty hard. So Skartorsis into Skull Crown or Sedacia or any of these champs would do a good job. We could run Skartorsis into his Skull Crown first. Is that the right one? I think it is. Oh, Lure was the other one. Lure. So let's try this. So I have built Lure to do some damage here. Let's see what we get out of this. So I'm not fast enough to go first, which might just mess the whole thing up. Yeah, it will. Let's throw my Arbiter into this one then, just so we can see what sort of damage we can do here. My Arbiter is obviously much faster than my High Cartoon. Just to see when we go first, just want to see what sort of damage we're going to do. It's possible actually he might be cutting on, let's see. And we're going to get frozen up by Torment. What am I doing? Let's fight someone else. Torment is an absolute nightmare for this sort of composition unless you've got immunity gear. So bear that in mind. Let's try it here. Yeah, Torment, really tough to deal with unless your whole team is in immunity, like my main set is. So when I'm talking endgame, my team is in immunity gear. So here we go, ally attack. We do have a shield to get through. So let's just see what Skartorsis does here. Skartorsis hits for 35k across the board. And Lure, trouble with Lure is her A1, the first hit could be a crit. The second hit cannot be a crit. It's always a weak hit. So I don't think she really works. I don't think she's strong enough. But Skartorsis on the A1 hits hard. He does hit hard. He can be useful for this. Finish him off. So Lure I think is probably a no-no. I think she just doesn't hit hard enough. If her additional hits could be AoE, I think she might be able to do it for us. But as it is, they're not. So I think she comes out. But this could work as a kind of endgame sort of setup. Lanicus in there. Like this. This could work as a build, I think, in terms of taking on endgame, high gold 4, low plat So run it on slow again, because I think he does enough damage to activate your Sylar's build. Look at the hits there, 30k across the board, one less standing. He's not going to last long, and that is everybody dead. I was actually, you can definitely put Longbeard in here instead of Lanarkis. Lanarkis is the only one I've got. I was told some interesting stuff today, again by RTZ. He's got a really good handle on this sort of comp. Lanarkis will target differently from a Longbeard if you do it on auto, which I'd never heard that before. Really interested listening to this. So Longbeard always attacks a leader if you do it on auto. Lanarkis targets buffs, which I'd never heard that before. Really interesting. So Lanarkis, if there was 2 buffs anywhere in this team, or 1 buff anywhere in this team, the only person that had a buff, Lanarkis would auto that person. Don't know why. Weird kind of difference on mechanic. And also, if more than 1 person had a buff, then she would then default back to the leader, which again, just interesting stuff. But yeah, so if we throw this in here, Lanarkis does our ally attack. We probably would want, we've got 2 force affinities here. So we're going to be fine against these, so we'd probably want to go here because that's the only place where we might not get strong hits. Let's just see what sort of damage these have kicked out. 125k from Scarred Tortoise. That's high. He has got very, very good multipliers on his A1, so he can definitely fill that A1 or A2 position. So we could spin it around like this, and he could mop up, which again is quite a good use for a Scarred Tortoise. You just have to build him full damage. Bang, dead. So that's quite nice. Let's just refresh. Another one then that I've been playing around with, which is a champion which has sat in people's vaults for a long time because he has got no home. He really wishes he got a buff. Baron. Baron's got a pretty crazy A1 if you're hitting somebody that is low health. He kind of spirals damage a bit like a Draco does, but on the whole team. So we have to be careful of a Valk here. Valk can just go ahead and steal turn meter. I think we've got plenty of turn meter though, so we're fine. So here we go. Ally attack. So Scarred Tortoise goes first. Hits. We killed. Then the Baron goes in. Oh no, we didn't. No. So the only trouble with this is if you kill the first person, Baron doesn't do his ally attack. Let's try and do it again where we don't. Perhaps I should have just targeted. Actually, let's come out of that. We're going to target the Valk, who shouldn't die straight away to Scarred Tortoise. This is where you have to select your opponent. So what we got? Scarred Tortoise red. So maybe we go against Tyrell. Let's target the Tyrell. So we targeted here. See, we targeted here because he had a buff, as I was just saying. He had a buff, so Lanarkis automatically went to him. I actually want the target to be him. We still go, okay. I want the target to be here, so I would have to select that manually. Baron goes in and does a big slam after Scarred Tortoise gets him low. But not enough to kill, and I've got Baron in high damage here. So he's not done enough to kill there. But he could be useful in this if you're trying to make a use of a Baron. He's probably it's about the best use I've seen of him so far, is to go into a composition like this. But for me, there's actually tons of variables here. There's tons of people that you could throw into the mix, which is why it makes it quite fun. You do need an ally attack champ, and you do need a couple of AoE champs to do it. Someone else that I was thinking about was my Ray. My Ray is not built strong at all right now. I've kind of used a lot of gear for other people. She's not built specifically for this comp either, but so she's way too far. She hasn't got enough attack, and we're going to the kind of build you should do at the end. But Ray can go here. She does actually have on her A1 a chance to drop defense. It's only a 50% chance, but still it's a chance, which means that she'll go first, drop defense potentially, and then the next person comes in and attacks people with a lower defense. So you could go Ray into someone like your Sylar, like this. And potentially your Sylar hits even harder because Ray has got a chance to drop that defense. I did say in my last video, I don't know if there's any other defense downs AoE A1s. There might be a couple. Yumi Love's a good place for that. But Ray, obviously being a legendary, is quite hard to find or hard to get for people. You see we get much bigger hits. Crazy big hits. Sylar doing over 100k damage because I guess we did get a drop defense. I don't know if we saw it or not there. But yeah, there's just a ton of options. So let me go into the best way to gear these champions then. How do you gear them so that they're not getting tied up by Torments and that type of thing? I'll show you how I've got my Skull Crown and Sylar built. They're my kind of high-end champs for this. High attack, 100% crit rate's a must, high crit damage. Now I've got mine in immunity set, and I've got attack percentage boots, attack percentage chest. You don't need speed here, you just need damage. Attack percentage, ideally crit damage with crit rate. If you cannot achieve that, then you just go crit rate here, but you need the crit rate. That's the most important aspect. Crit rate comes before crit damage on this one, probably all the time actually. And then you need attack, crit damage, attack. Yeah, you're literally, this build probably won't work anywhere else in the game with any other setup because you're way too slow. But for a blender style comp, it works really nice. So I think I've pretty much got the same build on most of the people I've shown you today. I'll show you the Star Tortoise one as well. He's got very high multipliers on his A1. You see I don't have immunity set on him, I've just gone for damage. But we've got 3.5k damage. It's much harder to get his damage up. His base attack is very low, but he hits freaking hard. 100% crit rate, very high crit damage. Nothing else matters here. And then again, we've got Helm Smasher on the Masteries. But yeah, you can see there that he does a ton of damage. When you looked at people like my... who else did I show? Sylar. Sylar, I was only running with 3.5k, 100%, 181. So that's pretty achievable. I could definitely push more damage if I moved her gear around and put a more optimal build just for this. But you can see that you can mix stuff up. Even against a Torment, if you've got immunity sets on, you can slam down Torments and not even worry about them. The biggest concern for me with this build is being up against shields. Shield sets. People like Krisk, who automatically throw a shield set on, make it difficult. People like Hegemon make it difficult because he can lock out my Arbiter. If I don't go first, I probably don't win. But it's a really fun way and a really fast way to farm medals. So, you know, there's a good chance that you can get a team working with multiple champions in this sort of build. And you see how quickly I'm farming medals here. Skull Crown versus Skull Crown. As long as you go first, you win. Her unkillable kicks in. Even if she comes back and nukes you, your unkillable then kicks in, and then you have another turn. So we can definitely do something like her and him. And because you start to have options, you can then look at affinities and think, well, actually, if I'm up against green affinity, then maybe I bring in a Ray. Yeah, and you start to think about affinity matchups instead of just picking the same team over and over. But I do need to play around with the other options and see if I can make sure that they are as consistent as this team. The good thing about this team as well is it takes down Rotas very easy because you're getting so many multiple hits. I do like Scar Tortoise in this actually. I wasn't sure about him yesterday, but it feels like he's got a really nice amount of damage on him. So guys, that's probably going to be it. Let me know what teams you're thinking of running or you're already running. Let me know what sort of builds that you're doing, if it's different to what I'm doing here. This is going to be the blender, done and dusted. We can probably just like look at some of those other compositions over the next week or so in terms of other offensive ways to take on the arena. But anyway, I've been Hell Hades. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you soon.